Hello, my lovelies. Good evening and happy Thursday. I appreciate you joining me if you're here for my little live painting time session where I thought I'd reintroduce myself and share a few things about myself that you might not know or that you might already know. And just I want to get to know you guys better. And like I said, share some stuff. It's a lovely stormy evening here right now. So I have some background, or I guess some framing that I want to finish on this Sicilian painting that I've been working on. So I'll just be messing with that while I'm telling you a little bit about myself, kind of why I'm here, why I do what I do, maybe like what the hell I'm doing over here. So grab a chair, smoke one with me, have some coffee, some tea, and let's paint and chat. So originally, I am from Ohio, a little town called Lima, Ohio. You may have heard of it, especially if you've been watching Cops or Gangland or anything like that. But it's a dope little town, you know what I mean? It's a bit rough growing up there, but I love my people and I do appreciate, you know, the lessons and just all the time that I've had there. I love going to visit and seeing everybody. I have been an artist all of my life. Starting when I was about 2 years old, my mom told me that's when I was really starting to, Beantown for sure. When I was really starting to draw, seems very young, right? But my mom used to work at a bar when I was little, which was in the 80s. And as you did in the 80s, I went to work with my mom and I went to the bar. So are you gonna light up too? You gotta be smoking with me now, come on. So I went to work with her in the 80s and would chill at the bar. And of course she would be behind the bar and I would be sitting on, you know, the outside of the bar, drinking my little Sprite with some, you know, grenadine juice in it, some cherries and all of that. And she said that she would have a piece of paper and she would draw a snowman, right? And then she would give it to me to draw. And when she handed me the paper, obviously I was on the other side of the bar from her, and she said that I would draw the snowman upside down. So that I would like copy what she did, but literally copy it, because from my perspective, she was drawing it upside down, right? Because she was across the bar from me. So I think that story is super cool. I've always thought it was really cool. And she said that I was 2 when I used to do that. So I definitely count that as that's when I started drawing. Shit, probably if I had a pencil in the womb, I'd have been drawing then, to be honest, because it's been like this ever since I could remember. I've always asked for art supplies, anything to do with art supplies or art for any birthdays, Christmases, anything like that. That's all that I ever wanted. That's very close to still all that I ever want, is just some more art supplies and things of that nature. So I grew up in Ohio, like I said, in Lima. I went to school there until the 8th grade. And then we decided to move to Arkansas and give myself a big old culture shock, which was fine and quite the learning and growing point of, you know, what's going on with my life now, even like the inspirations, the motivations, the experiences that I had there, moving from, you know, having to really adapt and learn how to just live in a new type of way of living, a new type of city, people, even the way they spoke, you know. My Arkansas people, love you guys, but obviously there's a bit of a southern twang going on there. We catch it up in Ohio sometimes too, trust me. Michigan people have always called us southern people if we're from Ohio, because they think we sound country every time we go up there. So I can only imagine, you know what I mean, how they think real southerners sound. But so besides that, it was just different culture, you know what I mean? I grew up with a mixed family, with mixed, you know, friends, all types, black, white, green, purple friends. Like, it was no big deal for us. The town that we moved to in Arkansas, the first town that we moved to, had just all Caucs like me, all Caucasian people. So that was very weird for me and quite an adjustment, but I still have some of my best friends from Arkansas and just great, supportive, beautiful people. And so they made my transition a lot easier when I did move there. Um, that is where I graduated from high school. And funny enough, you'd probably think, right, that I went straight to college for art, right, as you would. I mean, it makes sense. But actually, back then, and frame of mindset back then also was I didn't think being an artist was a career choice, really, even though that's what I was and wanted to be. So I thought my only options were to be, well, first I wanted to weld, let me put it there. So I did go to college for welding. I love welding, actually, just not as a job. I was really good at it. I took MIG welding, if you know anything about welding. I did MIG. I never tried TIG before, which is usually for lighter metals like aluminums and things that are it's more delicate and it's easier to burn through. I never have done that one, even though that one was usually what women go into when they do weld. But on my forehead, that is a weed leaf, cannabis leaf, kind of mandala style. And then I've got some spider webs and stuff in there too. And then above my eyebrow, it says enchanted. So that's what's going on up there. Anyway, so I actually went to college for welding. I love to weld, but I also thought that being an artist was not in the realm of possibility. If I was an artist, a graphic artist to me was about the only option that I had back then. And that's just not anything that I wanted to do. I'm more of a hands-on artist, not a technological artist, you know what I'm saying? I've just always been that way. I love real art supplies. I love the paintbrushes, the paints, getting messy. Like, that's one of my favorite things about it, and just getting to really touch and use different supplies to create with. So I didn't want to do that. And then so I did weld for a bit. Like I said, I went to college for welding. I got 4 certifications in welding and MIG. And then I was going to school for welding in the morning, and I would get off around, I think like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, like 8 to 1 or something. And then from like 3 to midnight or 3 to 11, I would go work welding at a job. I did some fabrication, just a little bit, with some like I-beams and stuff, just, you know, cutting them and things like that. Again, some forklift driving. I had a forklift operator's license. I did that for a while. Not a super long while, just a little while. But it was a fun job for me. It just wasn't, I didn't want to do it as a job, as I said. I preferred to just weld for fun, and doing it for that long and that heavy stuff. I still have scars on me, and I actually was grinding something one time. If you guys have ever used a grinder, especially a big one, they can be pretty dangerous. And I was grinding with it one time, and I had a loose t-shirt on, and as you're not supposed to, and it got caught up in the grinder, and I almost like ripped my stomach up, just, you know, doing that, not paying attention, so, or wearing the wrong stuff. That just wasn't the career for me. I knew I wanted to be an artist for a long time, so that's what it was. After I stopped welding, I worked in restaurants for a bit, and I did a lot of stuff there. Met some more best friends doing restaurant work. I don't miss it, but I do enjoy some of it at some point. You know, we had our own little like crew, and it was a fun time. I did some front of the house stuff, serving and things like that, but then I got tired of people's bullshit, and I went to the back of house and was just cooking. And that actually was super fun because I like to cook. And it was, again, a little more fun to not be around some of the customers out front, so. So did the restaurant work for a while. Still would be, you know, drawing in my spare time and things like that. This was still when I lived in Arkansas, by the way. So when I was around 18 or just about to turn 19, like very close to 19, I decided to move back to Lima, back to Ohio. I broke up with my boyfriend at the time, and I just wanted to get out of there and start over. While living up there, one of my school friends from elementary school was a tattoo artist in my hometown. And so I would actually be up at the tattoo shop getting tattooed, but I would be hanging out up there and just, you know, talking with them and watching them and chatting, just hanging out like you do really at the tattoo shop. And Butch, who is my mentor tattooing, I decided to go for it one day and asked him if I could be an apprentice, if he would take me on as an apprentice. And yes, Izzy, I'll explain my painting for sure. Thank you. Craftsmanship, Gabriel, I guess it is. Yeah, I'm just doing some painting while I'm sharing some stuff about myself. So I asked Butch if he would take on an apprentice. He said yes after he asked me to bring in some of my drawings so he could see, is that even something that I enjoy doing and that I'm passionate about, which I love. I don't see a ton of apprenticeships being handled like that anymore, and I kind of miss that. I'm a bit old school with tattoo apprenticeships and just tattoo stuff anyway. I've been tattooing for 24 years now, so you can tell why I'd be a little old school with it. But so he took me on. He loved my drawings as an apprentice and definitely learned a lot there besides tattooing. Oh man, like definitely got roasted, got hazed a bit like you used to back in the day. I think they still haze a little bit, their apprentices, but shit, not like back in the day. I didn't nearly get as bad as I could have gotten, you know what I mean? As some of the shops that I heard some of the shit they went through. I know of one guy in Georgia that they duct taped him either to a chair and to a light pole or just to the light pole. And he had to be out there for a few hours duct taped, holding up some sign or something. I don't know. I didn't have to go through all that, but, you know, there was enough that I had to get through and prove myself, and I think I have. So that's where that journey started as far as, like, finally getting a chance to be an artist in some way. Back then, as I said, graphic artist was seemingly the only way that I would be able to be an artist and have a career at it until I got into the tattoo scene. And then that, for some reason, seemed to be the only other option. So it was graphic artist or tattooing. And of course, I'm going to tattoo, more hands-on, and just more of my scene anyways. And I'm glad I did. I'm super grateful for it. I'm super blessed. I love tattooing nature-y type things, pretty things, magical things, spiritual things, symbolism, anything, I don't know, that can just evoke a feeling that's pretty, some healing stuff. I love tattooing anything that may be healing for my client, drawing designs that tap into their energy. And it just becomes a real beautiful session for both of us. And like I said, a healing session, because getting tattooed is therapy, believe it or not. This might seem like a weird way to look at it, but I've always looked at it this way. It's a controlled form of cutting. So if you've ever cut yourself, or if you've known people that have, you know what that feeling is a little bit of having that cut and having that just bit of relief. Even when you get the first line, you know, ran in the tattoo, it might not be comfortable, but there is still some type of energy release there when that happens. Okay, so that's partly why tattooing is so therapeutic, is because you have the emotional releases that are needed in that point, or even just the ability to relax, believe it or not. It doesn't seem like you'd be able to relax in those situations, but shit, I remember when I was going through some really tough times in some relationships a long time ago, and I went and would get tattooed, and the tattoo didn't even hurt, but I was just a big sigh of relief getting the tattoo, being able to chill there, and I was just crying. I would cry the whole tattoo and just release all of that pain and all the bullshit I was going through. So it is a beautiful thing, and that's what I really like to I don't know, help my clients with, or just, you know, if there's any way that I can help with the healing and help them breathe some type of relief and feel comfortable, I love that part about it. I really do. And especially if it makes you feel more beautiful or handsome or more like your true self, because you have something on you that's like a representation of you. Even if I'm just fixing up an old tattoo, that's old energies that tattoo has within it, right? And there's probably some changes, especially if it was a long time ago, or if maybe it was of an ex that you've, you know, like I said, they're old energies, so they need to be released and let go of. So even going over an old tattoo and giving it new life and new color and again new energy, that's what I do too. Is it just makes you want to show your body off more, you know what I mean? There's been I've known ladies, shit, I think some guys too, but that literally wouldn't show off their arms or their chest or whatever because they had a hideous tattoo and they were just embarrassed by it. And the glow and the shine that comes through them when I get to fix up their tattoo and then they're able to wear whatever shirt they want, it's just a beautiful thing. Do you know what I mean? So thanks, Izzy. I appreciate that very much. So did some, like I said, welding for, I want to say a year or so. It wasn't super long, but I did it for around that time. And then when I moved up to Ohio, I really started tattooing. Like my first tattoo as an apprentice and just doing one, I was, I believe 19, at the beginning of 19 years old. So, yeah, I've been tattooing a very long time. I've tattooed in a few different countries, including Mexico, England. I lived in England for a couple years. We can talk about that later. And I tattooed in Mexico once. Yeah, once. And then in England. I feel like there's another one I'm missing, but I guess not. Anyways, and then all over the U.S. I travel and tattoo usually throughout the year to Ohio, Arkansas, Arizona, Vegas, and sometimes a few other places to tattoo my clients that lovingly and so appreciatively they wait on me to come back and finish their pieces and just have that trust and that faith in me. And I love to be able to take care of them that way too. So thank you guys. If you're listening, I appreciate it. So Izzy, this piece that I'm working on here, you can see some of it. Lots of detail, I know. I can't fucking help myself to simplify anything, I swear to God. But this piece is all about Sicily. These are all Sicilian symbols, designs. The Trinacria, which is the Medusa, the symbol there with the 3 legs, that is the Sicilian symbol. I've got my little Sicilian lady here. The poppies, which are very Sicilian, pomegranates, lemons, of course. You see lemons everywhere. Crocus flowers, I believe. And they purple daisies? Anyways, so yeah, just all kinds of symbolism of Sicily going on here because really a personal reason that I'm doing this painting. A few years ago when I was 36 is actually when I found out who my real dad was. And I found out that even up my hair here a little bit. And I found out that my paternal side of my family is Sicilian. So my whole life I've been asked actually what my ethnicity was because of, you know, having the olive skin, probably, you know, the nose and the eyes. I don't know, just all kinds of different things. But before I could even speak Spanish, I would have Latin people come up to me, Spanish people come up to me and speak Spanish to me, and I had no idea what they were saying because they thought that I was Spanish or Latina or whatever. So I didn't know for a long time. I thought it was, you know, my mom's side, they've always talked about, you know, we're German and Irish and a couple other, you know, as per usual, European type deals there. But like still it still didn't seem like it quite fit, you know what I mean, when I would say that for what it was. So anyway, found out who my real dad was and then found out that I was part Sicilian. Been really doing some research into that part of my background, and I can't tell you how much it really has answered some questions about myself. Just, for one, I've always been drawn to Medusa, right? Like, she's cool as shit, whatever, a lot of people are, but weirdly drawn to her and the snakes and everything. And so, not even as a turning to stone-like thing, just as a symbolism, you know, of that type of power that she's able to do that even with her vision. You know, the things, like, what is she able to do? Is it like she can blow things up with her vision? Like, you guys remind me what it was. But anyway, she's always been a very powerful symbol. And to know that she's part of the Sicilian flag, which I never knew before because I just never really paid attention, was really cool for me. I also found out that my biological dad was a professional pool player, is a professional pool player. He's still with us. And I've been playing pool my whole life, and I love to play pool. So that was kind of cool to see that it's not necessarily, oh, I got his hair in his eyes, but also that translated through in energies or vibrations or whatever it is that, you know, we also enjoy similar, the same activities and stuff like that. So I thought that was super dope. So that's why I wanted to do this painting, to research a bit more about Sicily and just connect with it more. Art is definitely my love language. So if you get a painting from me as a gift, you know I really love you. And if you haven't, and you know that I love you, it's just because I probably haven't had time yet. And I'm sorry. I'll get to it one of these years. So I tattooed in Ohio, in Lima, for a couple years. I came down to Florida to visit my aunt and uncle. My whole life, I've always wanted to come to Florida. I always knew I wanted to live in Florida. And the opportunity to come and really check it out was here. Like I said, I had been tattooing a couple years. So I came down and visited. And, you know, for me, it was just paradise. Like, I get cold easily, so I love the hot weather. So being up in Ohio and freezing to death half the year for me was not fun. The gray skies, I mean, automatically, you know, can evoke a bit of feelings of depression and things like that. And I just didn't like that. It was a dark, gloomy place for me. And some of the things that I even went through as a kid, it made it even more a bit of dark and gloomy and depressing. You know what I'm saying? So once I got to Florida and got to visit and see what was going on, and just see a different outlook on how people live, a different way of living, I was hooked immediately. And like I said, since I was little, I knew I was going to live in a tropical place. Florida was my visual. As a kid, that's pretty much all I probably knew as far as a tropical place went. But came down, visited. There was a new tattoo shop opening that wasn't far here in Kissimmee, that wasn't far from my aunt and uncle's place. And I took my little physical portfolio in there. And they checked it out. Excuse me. And they liked it, and they offered me a job, and that was it. I ended up moving down, working down here in Kissimmee. Now, again, this was a long time ago, so I actually live not too far from that area where I lived and started back then now, but it's quite changed. That shop's not there anymore or anything, but came down and lived and chilled. What, Buggy? I'll get you in a minute, baby. And yeah, that just started my tattooing journey, and I came down and worked with them for a bit, and then worked at a few places around downtown Orlando and stuff like that. I drive. Ended up moving to Arizona. After I worked in Florida for a few years, it had gotten where I was at. I guess I just wanted to change the scenery, try something new. Oh, and the shop had actually reached out to me and asked me if I wanted a job, so I went out and did a guest spot to check it out to see how it was, and then it was a good fit for me. So some of you may have heard of Club Tattoo. That's who I went out and worked with out there for quite a few years, and had a great time out there. I've lived in Arizona twice, actually. So the first time I moved away, that's when I moved to England. It was for personal reasons. My ex that I was with at the time, he's actually my ex-husband, even though technically we're not, we're just separated, we're not divorced. That's been quite hard, difficult trying to get a divorce in England over here, but that's a whole nother fucking story. Anyway, so I lived in England for 2 years and worked over there, and it just wasn't a good relationship. And so that's why I decided to move back over here and just try it again. And did it again, went back to Florida, came back from England to Ohio just for a little bit, and then back to Florida, and then back to Arizona, and back to Florida again. Just to shorten that story, that's where I'm at now. Back to Florida for this, what, third or fourth time now? So I have lived in South Florida. I love South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. But right now, this is just where the winds have carried me. And yeah, just trying to enjoy life the best I can, get my art out there. My aim is to evoke feelings from you guys, some kind of feeling with my art that is a magical feeling or a comforting feeling or just something, some kind of feeling that is hopefully not a negative feeling, and that's what I want to do, you know, maybe take you to another world for a minute, another dimension, to, you know, a little bit of an escape. That's what I aim to do. So, and I do want to connect with the community more and share more with you guys, so I will be doing that more often, and just being out here, you know. We can paint together. If y'all have any tips for me, you're welcome to share them. If I have anything I can share that I think might help you guys, I would love to share that also. So, or I will share it, and if it helps, then bonus. I do read energies. I used to do psychic work. I am a psychic, but I don't do personal readings anymore. That's why I just leave it to doing some types of minimal readings on here and putting videos up that I think, again, may help with trying to navigate through life and the energies and how things work, as far as even like whatever, like manifestation or just creating your life, you know, and making sure that your outer matches what your inner is, as far as, you know, what you're trying to achieve for your visions that you have for your life, because it does reflect. Your outer environment reflects your inner. And so if you've got a lot of chaos and a lot of tension and worry and things going on in your outer life, then you know that your inner life is not at peace and is not, you know, you're operating from survival mode. Trust me, I know all about that shit. So I've been working on myself seriously the last 10 years, sorry to tell you, but sometimes it takes a while to just, you know, get through some of the lessons, some of the healing, some of the shit you gotta let go, and then you let it go, and then it pops back up again, and you gotta fucking let that shit go again. It just happens like that. So, oh, that's right. I was thinking, I knew she turned people to stone, but then for some reason I keep picturing, oh, because I think they put a mirror in front of her, didn't they? And that's why she turned to stone, because her gaze went back on her. I think that's what it was, where I got that from. So thank you, Izzy. I appreciate that. But yeah, still powerful Medusa. I've always loved her. You know what I mean? I feel like she was actually a pretty cool lady, and somebody did her wrong and then told her story to make her look bad. I don't think she was probably that bad, you know? I think she was a warrior. Anyways. Anyways that I can share on here, any videos of the readings. Like I said, at the end of this, I'm going to actually pull a card and just leave you guys with whatever guidance the card I pull gives for this sesh here. And do one of these videos once a week. I was doing them every second Thursday of the month, but let's try once a week. I have been experimenting with my schedule and things like that. And I guess if I want to be out here more and chat with you guys more and connect more, then I need to literally be here more. So I'm working on that. Besides my art stuff and the spiritual videos, I am a nature psycho. So I actually, I also take care of monarch butterflies, and I have videos on here that I share about that also. I had a pet butterfly named Trooper that I took care of for almost a month, and I'll probably be doing an actual very simple and quick step-by-step video of if you do need to take care of a butterfly, or if you have a pet butterfly that can't fly, or some kind of, you know, it's messed up in some way, I can show you how to take care of it. At least a monarch, but I think it would translate to other butterflies too. So it was really cool. I took him to the tattoo convention with me, and he was dope. He was so dope. We'd have our little fly time, and I'd have his little travel home with me, and I have his little house that I had here, which was just a little aquarium. And in the mornings, I would either feed him his nectar water, which was just honey and water mix, more honey than water, more like like a 5-to-2 ratio, something like that. And then, or I would set him, because he couldn't fly, I would go set him on the flowers out back so he could drink the zinnias or there's some kind of like salvia purple flower I have out there that they like too. So he'd go drink from those, and I would just watch him, and if he fell down, I'd go pick him up and named him Trooper, because that was really his spirit. Like, they're way more resilient than we think. Butterflies are delicate, but they're strong as shit. Like, I can't tell you, he's trying to fly, so he was trying to flap his wings, and he would flip backwards and flip onto the table or onto the floor out there, the ground that was hard, when I wasn't able to get him. Usually I had him on sheets and stuff that was soft, but it still never hurt him. You know what I mean? He'd still flip back up, like he would be perfectly fine. So I'm not saying go drop your butterflies, but if you are trying to take care of one and it does fall, it'll probably be okay. Don't freak out too much, but still be gentle with them, of course. So yeah, my plants, my nature, I have my little buggy. He is 6 months old. He's my wiener dog, dachshund mix dog. I've had him for a month and a half or so now. I had an older dog named Bubby, Mr. T-Rex. He passed away in March. So I've got this guy, my plants, and my butterflies that I take care of. So anything nature, if I can help with, I try to. And I also love using that type of inspiration in my work, in my paintings, in everything really, in my readings, and the way that I look and see guidance from the universe, from God, from nature around me. If you've watched any of my other videos, I talk about that all the time, about the animals bringing you messages, certain weird symbols, numbers, words, whatever popping up where you're like, well, that's fucking weird. That's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Don't believe in those. Everything happens for a reason. So once you kind of chill out, be in the present moment, and really figure out how everything works, then it's easier for you to be able to relax into things and recognize that too. Now, that doesn't mean it's always easy. I was just chatting with Izzy earlier about, being able to relax and being able to not worry and go with the flow and just trust, That's not always something easy to do, because we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the world, and almost everybody, 80-90% of people thinking one way and thinking this is the way, you have to work yourself to death. This is life. You do this, this, and this, and then you die, and that's it. Well, I don't believe that shit. I know there's more out here for us, and I know that we are not born and meant to come here to suffer and to worry about fucking non-existent, meaning not for real bills. They're not a real thing. You know what I mean? It's just part of the program here. So it's something we either get on board with and try not to let it get to us and stress us out and just be like, yeah, it's taken care of. God got me, whatever. Universe takes care of me. Or you can just let it eat you alive. So my point here is to try not to let it eat you alive. If I can help in any way, that's what I'm going to do. Because I am continuously working on that myself every day. So that's why I'm here. That's why I have a channel. That's why I post what I post, and why there's a few different subjects about things. That's the stuff I'm passionate about. So I wanted to share a little bit of that with you guys. I'll share some other stuff on some other videos. Maybe some more personal stuff. Maybe some more stuff that I went through and how I deal with it now. I have shared some of that on my other videos, but just even as far as like having a different mindset, and the way that you wake up and the way that you approach the day and look at it is quite different from that. So I do have a lot of ink on me, Harrison, for sure, but being a tattoo artist for so long actually helps with that budget, so I'm not too mad at that. I think that's pretty good for today. As far as what I wanted to share about where I grew up, like I said, how I got here, where I'm at right now, what I'm doing. I definitely want to do more with prints and merch. I don't know. I sell a lot of my originals. If you go on my website, dragonqueen.ink, INK like tattoo ink, You can check out a bunch of my original art up there. I have prints, I have stickers, I have some t-shirts and merch, and all types of things. You can make an appointment for a free consultation for a tattoo on there if you'd like also. Or just email me if you have any questions in general, even if, you know, it's spiritual help, and if you just need to talk about something and need some help, let me know, okay? I'll do my best to help if I can. So I'm going to pull a card for us too, like I said, to wrap it up a little bit and get this thing finished up. My goal was to finish it up today. I've been working on it for a while, well over 30 hours into it, but, you know, trying to be a perfectionist, but not for real. But yeah, it's still there. It's like, at some point I have to just be done with it, you know what I mean? So once I'm done with the border, get my highlights in there, I'm just gonna have to call it, I think, guys. So let's get a little bit of guidance for the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it a bit and did some painting with me, or some smoking, or some something. And then tomorrow I'll post. Usually every week I put new art out on my website too. Every Tuesday I put new art, a new painting or something up there, usually available for purchase. And I am working on to get it to where pretty much you can get a print of anything that you see on there, and a sticker I would really like. So a few things I'm working on in the background here, but let's get some guidance to end with, and then I hope you guys have a wonderful night. So these cards are so beautiful too. So this card is the card of truth. Bro, we were just talking about a mirror, were we not, with Medusa? And that really has to do with, you know, spirituality in general, and the healing that we need to go through. Of, you really have to sit down and reflect on yourself and look at yourself deeply. The shadow, the light, all parts of yourself. Some parts that are scary, some parts that are you know, painful, whatever it is. I was chatting with I play soccer on Sunday mornings, and one of my teammates has been having some back problems. And if you've watched my channel or done any type of research about emotions in the body, you know that if you hold on to negative emotions in the body, you hold on to certain emotions in certain places, like your liver holds anger, you know, sadness in your chest and your heart area, things like that. So any pain or dis-ease in your body actually correlates with some emotion, negativity that you're holding in your body that you need to release. So that's why it's so important for us to look at ourselves and be honest with ourselves about what we want, and hold strong boundaries with people. Because, as I was saying with my soccer teammate, he has pains here which have to do with support, familial support, community support, support from yourself, whatever, but it has to do with support. Some of the things that I was touching on that it could come from, with maybe family not supporting him and him not standing up for himself of what he believes and what he wants to do for his life. He almost immediately was like, kind of had a scared look on his face and was like, yeah, no, I'm not trying to, that sounds like too much work. Like, I don't want to confront that, face it, talk to them about it. That's where the work comes in, you guys. That's where the hard work is. You know, it's not lifting hard work that you have to do, but it takes a lot to tell your mom, dad, brother, sister, auntie, whoever, like, no, this is what's best for me, no matter what your opinion is. You know, there's things that you have to do for yourself that aren't selfish, but you have to have that strength, 38 on the time, as I said that, to stand up for yourself and tell people around you, no matter what, as long as you're not hurting anyone, this is what I want to do for myself, and this is what I'm going to do for myself. You know, they might think it's wrong or crazy or whatever, but if you truly feel that's what's for you, there's a reason for it. God put that within you for a reason. So don't let somebody else's fears take that away from you, please, okay? Have the strength and the bravery to sit down in the mirror and really look at yourself and be truthful with yourself about what's going on in your life, about how you act day to day, about, are you taking accountability, responsibility? Are you taking that next step in your life that you need to? Or are you just sitting in freeze, in fear, or in flight? You know what I'm saying? And not really, you're just feeling uneasy. And if you're in pain all the time, then you got to release, babe. You got to let this shit go and really get to know yourself more. It's a lot of work and it's painful, but let me tell you, it's made 3939 path through this life easier for me to deal with. It's not that the shit goes away. You still got to deal with some shit, but it's much easier to deal with now. So, all right, truth. The magical guidance is to be honest, not only with others, but also with yourself. It's time to face facts. Otherwise, the truth may be revealed in a way that you may not wish it to be. For the truth will come out. It always does. Better that you confess sooner rather than later in order to avoid a bigger confrontation than you can handle. Remember that when you keep the truth from others or speak untruthfully, your energy lowers and your light fades. That's because you're giving your power away. Take that shit back, bro. It's time to release the heavy burden of secrecy. However, if you've been deliberately misled, remember that no one deserves to be in your life if they think that you aren't worthy enough to be told the truth. Let the truth set you free. Some magical other meanings of this card are to check in with and trust your intuition. Someone is hiding something from you. Admit the truth before someone else does, and live and speak your truth. So I really can't tell you how on point that is, especially with what we've been talking about. And if you really want to level up your life, that's what you got to do, you guys. So I love you so much. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'll see you next week. We'll have a bit more of a chat and paint or smoke with me. All right. And don't forget, don't dip your paintbrush in your coffee, and don't drink your paint water. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.